I don't think the election was actually...
What are the people saying?
And 5 local government out of the 13 local government is more than many states in the north.
The economy is booming. Where is the economy booming? Bomb blast in Abuja.
Don't you have security?
Why are we fighting?
Presidency should not just sit in Abuja or in Asokoro or wherever he lives.
They are sponsoring the Boko Haram. They know them.
Men cannot be there and be there at the same time.
The life of the citizens, community need to be protected.
It can't work out.
Bring the message of peace. Let there be proper devolution of power from the center. The center is too powerful.
The People, only on Core TV News.
It's good to know that you're still there with us in the program Core Digest. And we still have our guests in the studio. We have Chief Martin ONOVO, a political analyst and a one-time 2011 political aspirant, presidential aspirant in the studio. And of course, Dr. Ray Ashinewa, I hope I did not murder that name, National President, Secure Our Votes Group. And we're talking about the abducted girls. Is negotiation the way out? Both of our guests have said yes. Everything that we can do to bring these girls back should be done, including negotiation. But my question falls to Chief ONOVO is, if we negotiate for the immediate, as an immediate solution, what are the plans to be put in place rather for a long-term solution to this insurgency?
You remember that when there was amnesty for the Niger Delta militants, it did not completely wipe away militancy, but it reduced it significantly. It's a similar thing. The negotiation cannot just be simplistic of give us the girls, continue your terrorism. So it's you go to the table with your position. And what I think may be acceptable to Boko Haram is, okay, amnesty like you had in the Niger Delta, okay, some socio-economic empowerment programs, rehabilitation kind of stuff, and in addition to that, your suspects will let them go, since that's already their own condition. So if we do that, you achieve many things. Because do we really have capacity to bring back the girls? We've done bigger things in the past. Don't make any mistakes. The Nigerian military used to be a very formidable military, and I'm very disappointed. This is the same Nigerian military of Liberia, performed excellently. This is the same Nigerian military that went to Mali excellently. Sierra Leone. We've been restoring order everywhere in Africa. Now we can't put order in our own country. Something is wrong. If you ask me, I insist it is the leadership. And I also insist that the leadership, like the president of Rwanda has advised them, should accept responsibility.
Would you agree, Dr. Ray, that there is any iota of similarity between what happened in Niger Delta and what's happening in northern Nigeria? And the Niger Delta militants had issues like we produce the oil, but then there's no development. Now, those were understandable issues. Boko Haram is saying, Boko Haram, we don't want Western education. Would you agree, like Chief said, that there is similarity between these two groups and how to address the challenges?
When you look at their war there, you have to understand that these people are fighting against Western education. They believe that what has been able to trigger this corruption is education, whereby you see people that will tell you that they even know better off than you. So I agree, it's the same thing. It's because education there is only meant for the few. Yes, no, they go to that place, go to Borno State and see what is happening over there. It's more or less like a desert. So once you did not develop the people and empower them very well, they will turn up to become an animal. So you see the animals in them.
Some have questioned the fundamental issues, that it's like there is more to what we understand about Boko Haram. Now, the last video that Sheikh House sent, he was holding a book. He was standing in front of an ammo tank. All of these are products of Western education. It's like we've not even laid our hands on the real issues. How does that affect us?
Well, the first thing, to agree with you, Boko Haram is completely senseless. Boko Haram is definitely terrorist. And Boko Haram is very, very cowardly. Very, very cowardly. And those words have specific meanings in the context I have used them. Senseless in that you say Western education is forbidden, but you upload stuff on YouTube. You're an idiot. Boko Haram is senseless. But just like Doctor has said, if you create monsters, you're going to have monsters. If you create people, you're going to have people. And that's what the leadership is about. It's about building people instead of building monsters. I did not say that Boko Haram and Niger Delta are the same. Both are crimes. The Niger Delta had a just cause, but went outside the law to pursue that cause. Look at Odi, for example. The government was high-handed against Odi. Odi people went to court. They have judgment against the government. That is the right way. They didn't say, okay, the few people who are alive, buy more guns, let's shoot more people. Go to Unical and they shoot people. What is your problem with Unical people? And that's my issue with Boko Haram. What's your problem with young girls? Girls' schools. They went to Buninyadi, it's a girls' school, because they're cowardly. Some of the girls were even able to escape from there because they're lazy. If they had gone to a boys' school, half of them will run away. Half of the boys will escape. So because they are cowardly and senseless, that's why they go and attack girls. And young girls at that. So the similarity is that both, Boko Haram has no cause. Just like you said, they have no cause. And you can't say you want to Islamize Nigeria because first, you must be an idiot to say that. The Nigerian Constitution guarantees freedom of religion, and then you don't even have the capacity. What capacity does Boko Haram have to Islamize Nigeria? It's idiotic. So Boko Haram is senseless, agreed. But Boko Haram, in addition to being senseless, is a terrorist organization, and terrorism is a crime. Now, the Niger Delta cause, there was kidnapping. That's a crime. That's a crime. There was vandalization of public property. That's a crime. Just like Boko Haram burnt a school. The Niger Delta disrupted oil production by vandalizing oil facilities. So there is a similarity. They are not the same. One is terrorism, one is militancy, but both are not legitimate ways of pursuing a cause.
Dr. Ray, there are opinions in some quarters that if we negotiate with terrorists, it might just be a way of encouraging insurgency in other parts of the country because there was amnesty for the militants in the South. And some have related it that because these people got attention, probably that was what gave rise to insurgency in the North, talking about Boko Haram. What are we sure as a nation that if we negotiate with these people
and grant them amnesty,
won't it give rise to...
There won't be an outspring of another group.
When you look at it very well, that is, you now see where integrity now plays in. When Alhaji Musa Yar'Adua came into government after his election, you talked about legitimate government here. The man came on air and told Nigeria that the system that brought him to government is illegal. It's not legitimate. Is that not so? That is what we call integrity. First of all, we must look at what causes this thing and tackle it first. Yes, we agree. Once there is corruption, in fact, will keep happening. After Boko Haram, maybe the next one will be a Rambok. Are you get what I'm saying now? But if we didn't tackle the root of the problem, which is corruption, and how do we change this corruption is to change leaders. You cannot be doing the same thing and expect a result. It can't happen. So if we must be able to do what? To have a final solution to this, we must have integrity and change our leaders.
Let's look at short-term solutions. Because each time when you talk about changing leadership, it sounds to me like a long-term solution. It sounds like we're going to wait, because we can't just say, Jonathan, resign, and let's have a referendum. Let's choose someone who can, given the system. There's been a lot of talks about international commitments and cooperation with Nigeria. But have you discovered that there is no much cooperation between the presidency and governors in these affected states? How does this affect the fight against terrorism in Nigeria?
That's a difficult question, not because we don't have the answer, but let me start and lay a foundation. To build a human society, whether it's an autonomous community, whether it's a state, whether it's a local government, whether it's a country, you must have integrity as the foundation. If you have integrity, it becomes easy to have justice. If you have justice, it becomes easy to have peace. If you have peace, then you can talk about development. Now, When the foundation is destroyed, which is integrity, what can the righteous do? There is no silver bullet solution to Boko Haram. Because if I do not know, and I've listened to government and they don't know, because government are not told any silver bullet solution. The international alliance we have built, none of them has offered a silver bullet solution. Okay. I don't think there's any. Or maybe only God knows the silver bullet solution that will just solve all the problems here. And just like I said at the beginning, these problems did not start overnight. But you have to take the first right step. Like I said, if we had the capacity to capture Boko Haram and crush Boko Haram, we will not be talking about negotiation. Negotiation is a fallback. After 42 days, we can't get our children back. And we want our children back. We have to do something else. And that's where this negotiation comes on the table. Otherwise, we shouldn't be talking about it. But we have to face reality. We're going to get them. We did not get them in one day. We're going to get them. 1 week is gone. We're going to get them. 1 month is gone. As at now, maybe you can help me because you're a journalist. Tell me and give me your authority that Sambisa Forest has been enveloped and cut off right now from supplies. Can you tell me that now? Have we enveloped Sambisa Forest and cut off Boko Haram from supplies first? That's the first military step. Can you tell me that authoritatively? Can you tell me that all the Nigerian generals trained in Russia, trained in US War College, trained in India, trained all over the world? We can't withstand Boko Haram, ragtag illiterates, vagabonds. It's a leadership problem. If you keep dodging it, like you said, after Boko Haram, you have Haram Boko.
We are talking about negotiation, and you have held the opinion that Nigeria does not have the capacity to fight insurgency. We have been seeking help from other countries of the world, and Chief said earlier on that we are not going back into colonialism. Do you feel that we should cut off this help just because we don't want to be slaves again to these people? Because if we don't have the capacity, then what should we be doing?
We have accepted the help over 1 week now. What has the help given to us? The help has been destroyed, has been demonetized because of corruption. Sambisa Forest is not a heaven. It exists in this nation. And the same nation have a president. Are we saying that these people are ghosts? They are human beings. And while we are even saying about the one they did, they even went and bombed. That tells you that there's no future. Now let me say this. We all know that they say that the children are what? Are the future what? The future leaders. So if they are kidnapping our future leaders, that means what? There is no future.
An air marshal, a U.S. air marshal, in the middle of all this fight, said that the Sambisa Forest is as large as Western Virginia, and that that in and of itself is posing a great challenge to, the ongoing fight against terrorism. But outside all of that, do you think that the extension of the emergency rule that was just accredited by the National Assembly would also help in bringing us closer to winning this war?
Well, I'm not sure I can answer that correctly because I'm not sure I know the answer. You know why? The three governors, Adamawa, Yobe, and Borno, said emergency aggravated the situation. And if you use maybe number of deaths and you plot it, and you put the date when we started the emergency, you're going to see we had more deaths after it. So what they're saying to me is not illogical. It may be mischievous, but it is not illogical. That since you put the emergency, things got worse. Take out the emergency. I remember what you said, that they are not agreeing, the state government and the federal government. Why should you politicize national security?
Is that not the challenge of opposition in Nigeria?
No, that is the leadership failure.
PDP said that...
that's the leadership failure.
That APC is the greatest benefactor of terrorism in the north.
Very good. Please, let me respond to that. Not because the APC people have to respond for themselves. But let me ask PDP a question. The commander-in-chief, Dr. Jonathan, said that there are Boko Haram people in his government. Now, for him to say that, it means he knows that they are there. Why did he not arrest them? What is his duty? Why are we paying him a salary? That's number one. Number two, 2012, The national chairman, national, not state chairman, of the ruling party, PDP, said that Boko Haram is fighting for justice. He was carried in the media. Why did SSS not arrest him? Who is politicizing national security? Who's in charge? Now, the former national security advisor, late General Azazi, said that Boko Haram is associated with the PDP primaries and the zoning. He didn't call Action Alliance. He didn't call ABGA. He didn't call National Conscience Party. That's the national security advisor. That is the man who has more information than anybody about security. That is the man who briefs the president on security. So we have to assume that he knows what he's talking about. Because if he doesn't know what he's talking about, none of us know what we're talking about.
Unfortunately,
hold on. We need to drive this home. Let me tell you. When doctor said, is the government fighting terrorism, it looked like a stupid comment. But if you think about it, you find out it's an ingenious comment. You don't fight terrorism on the front page. It's not on the front page of newspaper. Every TV, terrorism. Every radio, terrorism. It doesn't know how to fight terrorism. When he said it looked like a silly comment, but if you think about it, ask yourself, are we fighting terrorism or are they trying to get political advantage by pinning it on the opposition? Let me give you two instances. The very brilliant Dr. Obi Ezekwesili asked the government a question. $67 billion in foreign reserves and excess crude account handed over to you. What have you done with it? What was the response of government? Instead of answering the question, they said she was a thief. She stole education funds when she was Minister for Education. Oh, you know she was a thief and she stole education and you didn't charge her. What is the punishment in Nigerian law for collaboration with a thief? You see these people? People lack common sense. Now, to tell you that it's not an isolated case, that is the mentality of the government. It is the mentality of the government. A very unpatriotic and senseless mentality. Lamido Sanusi, Central Bank Governor, the banker of the federal government, says you sold oil worth $67 billion. We received 47, where is 20? They say, oh, he's sponsoring Boko Haram. Oh, you didn't know before he was sponsoring Boko Haram. What is this now? You people think about these things now. Is that how a government operates? Then when John McCain says there's practically no government in Nigeria, you say that's a racist comment. Is that a racist comment or is that a true comment?
Dr. Ray, I personally do not believe that Nigeria is hopeless. With a lot of brilliant minds like Chief, like you, opposition endless, I don't believe that Nigeria can be hopeless. But unfortunately, opposition have not brought out blueprint of their own ideas of how to solve this problem. Unfortunately, what we've heard from opposition, like you are reactions to government, reactions to how poor leadership is. What do you think is responsible for that? In other climes, the government is run concurrently with the one in power, showing them alternative routes to success.
I want to take it from there. It's not that they have not been able to tell them what to do, or maybe we are being somehow critics. It is because, let me say this to you, when the father gets to steal and tell the child that if you see that the owner of that yard come and do what, inform me, and he successfully stole that good and go, I will tell you that months after, that child will start rebelling against that father because he knew that the father is irresponsible. So where we are gotten right now is as a result of our leadership. I say that once more again. But the problem there is that the system is corrupt. The system is corrupt. And when you're working toward a system whereby election does not really count any longer, so how do you want to get the real people there that would have worked?
Let's talk about the forthcoming election. Some have said that elections should not hold in those 3 states where emergency rule is being declared. In your own opinion, do you think we should have had total emergency rule or like the partial we're having now, and should elections hold in those 3 states?
That is when you are trying to politicize something. Normally, when you declare a state of emergency, the governor have to leave. For proper, that means he has failed his duty as a governor because he is a chief security officer of what? Of that state. So if you are declaring emergency, that means you're telling him is what? He's a failure. So why should you put a failure as a governor in the first place? So therefore, if that is being done, then definitely we must run an election and bring a competent person, not based on sentiment, but on what the person can do in that state.
The Northern Elders Forum have referred to Afghanistan that if elections could hold in Afghanistan, what is stopping elections to hold in these 3 states? How do you react to that, Chief?
It depends on what you call elections. Just like your news showed what was happening in Ekiti. That's child's play. Because each time we say the elections in Nigeria, people die. I don't know how that comes to balloting and counting ballots, because election is about balloting, the integrity of the ballot, and counting the votes, and declaring a winner, who is the choice of the majority. So I think that what we call elections in Nigeria cannot pass as elections in any ethical, intellectual forum. What we call elections. If you look at the 2011 elections, which is goes to the legitimacy of the government in place, you ask yourselves, especially if you have voted. In 1993, I was a NEC officer, National Electoral Commission. I was a NEC officer in 1993. You ask yourself, if you have ever voted, in the polling booth where I voted, what was voter turnout? Edo State election was hotly contested, the second tenure of Oshomole. Voter turnout was about 40%. Anambra election, Obiano, was hotly contested. Voter turnout was 24%. Now, Anambra is in southeast. Edo is in south-south. The Mimiko election was hotly contested. Voter turnout was 40%. But Dr. Jonathan claimed that he got over 80% in the southeast and south-south region, not in the polling station. We build a castle on lies. Then, when the case went to the Presidential Election Tribunal, the tribunal told INEC, bring the evidence of this election, let us verify it. The Presidential Election Tribunal was disbanded in Nigeria, in this country. And you people think there was no issue? Excuse me, please now. Please. We cannot be doing the wrong things, expecting the right answers. The only way to get the right answer is to do the right things. You say, what will opposition do? And you say we didn't give you an alternative position. We gave you alternative positions. It depends on what you want to listen to. Because there is no candidate that did not go around campaigning. So it's for you to verify the authenticity of his claims. Now, especially with your privileged position as a journalist, you have a right to approach any candidates and interview him. In fact, the candidates will like it, so that people will hear their position. But if you don't do that, you turn around and blame them. Then it means that every candidate should have his own TV station, have his own radio station, have his own newspaper. So, now, if you look at the developmental paradigm that I just presented here, I said you must have integrity. Once you have integrity, it becomes easy to have justice. Once you have justice, it becomes easy to have peace. In a country like Nigeria, where, according to the National Bureau of Statistics, it's not an opposition agency, it's a government agency. National Bureau of Statistics. Unemployment has been rising consistently since 2006. Poverty has been rising consistently since 2006. Yemi Kale, the statistician general, Dr. Yemi Kale, the statistician general of the Federation, is a civil servant. He said that poverty has been rising consistently every year. He's a civil servant. So when you begin to deny facts, these are civil servants paid by government. When you begin to question that, then it looks like you are biased. Let's deal with the facts, because once we admit those facts, then the conclusions become easier.
We've said so many things that the government of the day is not doing right, or how we are not getting it right as a nation. Dr. Ray, I want to, as we round up now, what is your ideal picture of what a country and election should look like?
Election based on integrity. Election based on the people vote that counts. Election based on the credibility of the candidates that is coming there not for his own personal interests, but for the interests of the nation.
It's all right. We're counting down to 2015. You made mention of political structures and all of that. Have you also have you found out that even in states that won governorship election under the opposition party, the moment the local government election comes up, that particular party wipes out the seat? It looks like the change in leadership that you were clamoring for, even in those other claims. Local government election was held somewhere in North. The opposition now, which is PDP, at 0. Now, how feasible is that in a state that has a working opposition? How exactly do we differentiate between your clamor for a change in leadership, and the rot in the political structure and system in Nigeria?
Now, if a dishonest man is freely and fairly elected by people, the people have to accept responsibility. Did you hear what I said? Dishonest person is freely and fairly elected. That's the condition we need. Let the people make a choice. If they make a choice for a kidnapper, let the kidnapper kidnap them. But let the choice of the people count. That is democracy. Because you started by saying this is a democracy. Now you have just confirmed my claim that the elections were a charade. But you're using state independent election, and I agree with you 100%. Now, in Lagos State, for example, Ikoyi local government, what is his name? Obanikoro, something Obanikoro, clearly won the elections. But today he's not in office. He went to court, the court said he won. The results, authentic results were tendered in court. The Lagos State Independent Electoral Commission agreed he won. But he's not in office today. Why? Because before the case ended, they say he had lost his 180 days that the constitution allows. So he was pushed out on a technicality. Not on reality. So that technicality has made somebody that the people did not vote for chairman of Ikoyi local government up to today. So it's the same thing. If an incumbent can use subsidy money for 2011 elections against the law, because the law has election finance limits. The law says government must prohibit corruption. Now, how can that be legitimate? Even if it doesn't rig. If you can use public funds to sponsor yourself against me, that is not fair and fair. Even if you get all the votes, it's why So we should just comply with the constitution and the electoral law, which are the laws that guide elections. And we should comply strictly.
Finally, Dr. Ray, the role of the electorate come 2015, what exactly do you think should constitute an electorate decision? We're not talking about personality now, we're not talking about parties, but we're talking about Nigerians being proactive as we go to the polls in 2015.
The first thing is integrity. When you have a man of integrity, definitely that person will deliver.
Some have called for a leadership, a leader who has a military experience, especially now that we are fighting insurgency in the north.
It's not about...
Will that count?
What is leadership? Leadership is about direction. And if you don't have direction, you cannot direct the people. So we need a leader that have the direction, that have technical know-how, that have a good manifesto, not just on paper, but practical.
Thank you very much. It's been a wonderful time with our guests today, and we've been talking about the abducted girls. I think what is most important is that these girls come back, not just for them to come back, but for them to come back alive. And we must say a big thank you to Chief Martin ONOVO. Thank you for finding time to be with us this morning.
Thank you very much.
As well as Dr. Ray Ashenawe, National President, Secure Our Votes Group. Very passionate panelists that we have this morning, and they came alive exactly when we started touching on these issues. The hashtag Bring Back Our Girls
I've got mine.
has been okay, you can share that. Now, this hashtag came up on Twitter, and within a few days we had millions of tweets talking about this exactly everywhere in the world. I watched the British Prime Minister speak about the abduction, and he was so convinced, he was so passionate on the floor of the parliament, and even the First Lady of the United States of America, everywhere around the world. It's Bring Back Our Girls. Now, it's 42 days now, and we're hoping that government will match words with action and deliver this glorious future to us.
And I said earlier that until we put aside individuality and we fight this cause as a one nation, let us forget politics at this time. Let us forget our selfish interests and look for these girls. I think it's less of us now and more of these girls, because it is not just about this set of girls. Because after now, if we can fight this to victory as a nation, it tells a lot in the history of this nation.
Many people believe that this is only a pang of death for Nigeria, that it might come with some sorrows and some pains, but indeed we're going to give birth to a new dawn and a brand new Nigeria. We'll leave you with the song composed by Andrew Lane and sung by Stephanie Ferret. bring back our girls.
Yes.
I'm wondering what people like Two-Face, the band,
The Nigerian artists, why they've
doing.
not made a song for this.
I mean, we've done a lot of songs about babes, about money, about hammering. It's 42 days after the abduction of the girls. We expect to see some great hip-hop songs in this direction.
While we're expecting that, we're going to play you this song sung by Stephanie Ferret as we round off the show today. Don't forget, Core Digest continues tomorrow, Tuesday, and for more information on this program, you can tweet at Core TV News NG. Check us up on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Core TV News. And you can watch our news and programs on www.youtube.com/Core TV. You leave a space, the news. We'll leave you with this song now. Thank you for being there.
Thank you very much for coming.
Are outraged and heartbroken over the kidnapping of more than 200 Nigerian girls from their school dormitory in the middle of the night.
In a blink, they were taken without a choice. With no reason, they were taken without a voice. So very young, I know that they are so afraid. But hold on, we gotta take this day by day. Let us pray and keep their faces in our minds, and let us hope from fading in the wind. Let's stand up, we can go the distance. We have to come together as one. Look into their eyes, let's give them our attention, 'cause we're on a mission called their life. 'Cause we can bring the darkness to the light. Listen, bring back our girls. Bring back our girls. We can win with everybody staying strong. We can make it right when something was done so wrong. Look into their eyes, their innocence betrayed. But be strong, don't let their young hearts fade. Let us pray and keep their faces in our minds, and keep our hope from fading in the wind. Let's stand up, we can go the distance. We have to come together as one. Look into their eyes, let's give them our attention, 'cause we're on a mission called their life. 'Cause we can bring the darkness to the light. We have to make it known, have to keep our hearts warm, and not give in to senseless, thoughtless plans. We have the strength to grow and let them know that we will fight and not give in to fear. Let's stand up, we can go the distance. We have to come together as one. Look into their eyes, let's give them our attention, 'cause we're on a mission called their life. 'cause we can bring the darkness into light. Listen, bring back our girls. Bring back our girls. Bring back our girls.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digit 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
We thanked all the religious